Alejandro Garnacho breaks silence after brutal Enzo Maresca decision in Chelsea win. Football Focus exclusive Chelsea breaking news. Please subscribe my channel. Alejandro Garnacho was hauled off at halftime during Chelsea's 3-0 win over Nottingham Forest on Saturday, with the Argentine winger taking to social media after the game. Alejandro Garnacho took to social media after Chelsea's 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest, during which he was substituted at halftime. The Argentine made a £40 million switch to Chelsea this summer following a fallout with Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, but his time at Stamford Bridge appears to have been anything but smooth sailing. Garnacho has only appeared in 3 Premier League matches under Enzo Maresca this campaign so far, and was substituted as the second half began during Saturday's 3-0 victory at the City Ground. Only João Pedro had fewer touches than the 21-year-old winger in the first 45 minutes, who managed just 18 before he was replaced by Jamie Gittins at half-time. The youngster also found himself on the receiving end of a stern talking to from Pedro Neto midway through the first half too, when his cross towards the back post went out of play instead of reaching the former Wolves star. During the break, pundit Peter Crouch said, "Chelsea were a bit sloppy. Credit to Enzo for making those changes. I know Neto was really frustrated with him, Garnacho. He was crossing the ball and not getting on the other side of play. Neto was really frustrated with him." Elsewhere, Marc Guiu replaced Andre Santos, while Romeo Lavia was substituted off for Moises Caicedo as the second half kicked off with the score at 0-0. However, it didn't take long for the Blues to break the deadlock, with Josh Acheampong netting the opening goal 49 minutes into the game. Neto doubled the tally for the afternoon just 3 minutes later, before Reece James sealed the deal with a third goal 6 minutes from time. Despite, perhaps, being upset about being substituted by Maresca, Garnacho took to social media on Saturday evening to share his thoughts on the victory. Alejandro Garnacho has broken his silence after being hauled off at half-time during Chelsea's emphatic 3-0 victory over Nottingham Forest, a result that not only highlighted Enzo Maresca's bold tactical approach, but also ended up sealing the fate of Ange Postecoglou, who was dismissed by Forest just hours later. For Garnacho, it was another frustrating evening in what has been a turbulent start to life at Stamford Bridge. The Argentine winger, who joined Chelsea for £40 million following a well-publicised fallout with Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, once again found himself under scrutiny after being replaced at the break following a subdued first-half performance. Having been handed a starting spot on the right flank, Garnacho struggled to make an impression against a compact Forest side. He managed just 18 touches in 45 minutes, the second fewest of any player on the pitch, with only João Pedro recording fewer. His limited involvement was compounded by moments of frustration from teammates, most notably when Pedro Neto expressed visible irritation at one misplaced cross that drifted harmlessly out of play rather than finding its intended target at the back post. The scene encapsulated Garnacho's evening, flashes of intent overshadowed by a lack of end product. During the halftime interval, pundit Peter Crouch highlighted the decision by Maresca to act decisively. "Chelsea were a bit sloppy. Credit to Enzo for making those changes. I know Neto was really frustrated with him, Garnacho. He was crossing the ball and not getting on the other side of play. Neto was really frustrated with him." Elsewhere, Marc Guiu replaced Andre Santos, while Romeo Lavia was substituted off for Moises Caicedo as the second half kicked off with the score at 0-0. However, it didn't take long for the Blues to break the deadlock, with Josh Acheampong breaking the deadlock, pouncing on a rebound after Forest failed to clear a set piece. The goal injected fresh energy into the side, and within moments Neto doubled the lead with a clinical finish that underscored why Maresca has placed so much faith in him as the creative heartbeat of this new-look Chelsea side. Reece James then capped off a commanding performance with a thunderous strike 6 minutes from time to secure the 3 points. It was a victory that lifted Chelsea further up the table and added to the growing optimism that Maresca's methods are beginning to take hold. However, for Garnacho, it was a sobering reminder that at Chelsea, under Maresca's unforgiving standards, reputation counts for little if performances do not deliver. The 21-year-old substitution was not just a tactical tweak, but a message that intensity, discipline, and end product are non-negotiable. Despite the disappointment of being withdrawn, Garnacho showed professionalism in his response. Taking to Instagram later that evening, he posted a picture of himself in action during the match, writing, "Happy for these 3 important points," accompanied by blue and white heart emojis. It was a statement that sought to focus on the collective success rather than personal frustration, reflecting a maturity that could serve him well as he battles to win Maresca's trust. His social media post comes amid growing speculation about his adaptation to Chelsea's system. Known for his explosive pace and flair, Garnacho's playing style thrives on directness and space to attack, traits that occasionally clash with Maresca's intricate possession-heavy blueprint. The Italian coach demands positional discipline and precise timing in transition, elements that Garnacho is still learning to master. Insiders at Cobham have noted that the Argentine is working closely with the coaching staff to refine his decision-making and positioning, but patience is wearing thin among some fans eager to see their big-money signing deliver consistent performances. It's worth remembering that Garnacho's arrival at Chelsea came after a dramatic end to his Manchester United spell. Following tensions with Ruben Amorim over tactical disagreements and attitude concerns, the winger pushed for a move away, with Chelsea seizing the opportunity to bring him in as part of their youthful rebuild. At 21, he remains one of the most naturally gifted wide players in the Premier League, but adapting to a new manager, a new system, and new expectations is proving to be a complex challenge. Maresca's decision to withdraw him at half-time wasn't personal, it was tactical. With Forest pressing high and Chelsea struggling to progress the ball effectively, introducing Gittins, whose off-ball movement and pressing intensity align more closely with Maresca's demands, made strategic sense. The results spoke for themselves as Chelsea dominated the second half. The victory also had ramifications beyond the pitch. Nottingham Forest's defeat marked the end of Ange Postecoglou's brief and turbulent tenure at the City Ground. Having failed to win any of his 8 games in charge, the Australian manager was relieved of his duties just 39 days after his appointment. His dismissal comes less than a year after his departure from Tottenham, where his once-celebrated attacking style unravelled amid poor results and dressing room unrest. For Garnacho, the focus will now shift to how he responds. Competition for places in Chelsea's attacking line is fierce, with Neto, Gittins and Noni Madueke all vying for minutes. Garnacho's ability to bounce back, to turn frustration into motivation, will define his trajectory in the coming months. The young Argentine has shown resilience before, from being doubted at Manchester United's academy to breaking into their first team, from criticism on social media to delivering decisive performances in high-pressure matches. This latest setback might just be another chapter in that journey. Chelsea's fanbase remains divided about how Maresca is handling his young stars. Some supporters argue that taking a hard line early on is crucial to setting standards and fostering a winning culture. Others believe that a more patient approach with young players like Garnacho could help them flourish in the long run. Maresca, though, appears unmoved by outside noise. His message to the squad is clear: performance and attitude determine selection, not price tags or reputations. Behind the scenes, Garnacho's response has reportedly impressed staff members. He's maintained a positive attitude in training and expressed a determination to earn his spot back. Sources close to the player suggest that he understands Maresca's expectations and views this period as an opportunity to adapt and improve. Chelsea's win over Forest was in many ways a reflection of the club's evolution under Maresca. The Blues showed patience in the first half, tactical intelligence in the second, and a ruthless edge that has often been missing in recent seasons. Young talents like Acheampong and Gittins stepped up, senior figures like James and Neto led by example, and the team's collective response to adversity underlined growing unity within the camp. For Garnacho, there's no doubt that his Chelsea journey has had a rocky start, but his social media post, far from being a mere PR move, seemed to carry a subtle message of defiance, that he remains focused, that he still believes in the project, and that he's ready to fight for his place. In the unforgiving world of Premier League football, moments like these can define a career. Some players crumble under the weight of expectation, others rise to meet it. Garnacho's next few appearances will tell which path he chooses. What's clear is that Maresca will continue to demand excellence. Chelsea's rebuild under the Italian has been characterised by high standards and tough decisions, and Garnacho's half-time substitution was just another example of that philosophy in action. The Argentine's talent is undeniable, but in Maresca's system, talent must be coupled with tactical discipline and consistency. As Chelsea prepare for their next fixture, all eyes will be on whether Garnacho earns a recall or has to wait for another opportunity to prove himself. Either way, his story at Stamford Bridge is far from over, and if history is any guide, adversity might just be the spark that ignites his revival.